Alright, so back out on the bike it is, and still familiarising myself with the camera and microphone setup. Just heading up to Stratford today. Been having some quite good success actually on YouTube with my other interest, which is the violin. But since the channel is about, it's good to see actually that so many people are into that topic, so many violinists out there. I'm just putting down some ideas, really memories more than anything, from when I used to go to my teacher Ron, and it was much more than just a music lesson, 45 minutes, hour lesson, and pay the money and go. He was absolutely passionate about the subject, and so usually a lesson would be 2-3 hours, you know, talking about high fits for the first hour, playing, then chatting again. But originally I'd wanted this YouTube channel to be about crypto. It's kind of morphed into a variety of different passions of mine. But yeah, I thought, I don't know if anyone has done this format before of motorbike vlog and crypto, like instead of walk and talk, it would be like ride and talk, I guess. But I don't know if anyone's tried this format. Probably someone has somewhere. But yeah, I thought I'd talk a little bit about crypto again while I'm riding. Not that much happening really. Bitcoin just seems to be super stable. Kind of went down a little bit, and then came back up again. Just stable around the 30k really. So yeah, we're still looking for that bull run really to kick off in earnest. But a lot of interesting things happening. One of the big banks in France has just become fairly pro crypto friendly, and things have calmed down, it seems, in the US with the SEC, with the XRP Ripple, with them judging that not to be a security, I guess. So yeah, that could be good. Could be a good thing. I'm not actually into Ripple myself, but obviously it's a huge market cap, so yeah, watching that one interesting. But really at the moment I'm kind of getting into going back to basics with Austrian Economics really, and finally getting around to reading the book by G. Edward Griffin, the Jekyll Island book, which comes highly recommended from everyone really, and who's into crypto and Austrian Economics and all the rest of it. They all recommend that book, and yeah, the first chapter or two already, I'm listening to it on Audible, and it's absolutely fascinating, and it confirms everything that I've been hearing about the shady nature of the Federal Reserve, and what its true purpose is, how it's not really a reserve and it's not really federal, it's privately owned, and the circumstances under which that kind of got set up, you know, back in 1913, I guess, strangely enough close after the sinking of the Titanic, which conspiracy theorists will say actually there were some people on board the Titanic who were not very pro the Federal Reserve, and that the people that were changed their plans at the last minute and didn't sail on the Titanic. But that's the conspiracy theory, of course, and I haven't actually looked into it and verified it. G. Ed Griffin hasn't actually touched on that yet, I don't think, on that side of it, but interesting reading, and I really have to get past this tractor and catch up with my mate Al. I should have taken the opportunity when I had it. Just need a little bit of straight. Here we go, let's go. Yo! Just awesome really, the power you've got on this thing. MT09, let's say the MT10 is a real beast, but this is more than enough for what I need. Yeah, I'm loving this bike, living the dream. And really, biking really is a true ANCAP thing, you know. Just feel completely free on a bike. Fits in with the whole ANCAP philosophy, really. Yeah, Al's going to slow down until I catch him up. Yeah, some nice twisties here on this road. So yeah, G. Edward Griffin, and how really that meeting, I guess, is designed to bring the opposition into the fold, or the competition into the fold. Reminds me a bit of, you know, the famous, is it 1957 Mafia meet in the Appalachians, where all the crime family bosses got together to agree how to basically cooperate and work together. And G. Edward Griffin really does draw a parallel in terms of cartels, saying that these guys were a cartel of a different kind, the bankster kind. So yeah, their purpose was to get together to figure out how to crush the opposition that wasn't in the club, so to speak, and work with the opposition that was. Now, the interesting thing as well, there were a couple of the banksters there were Jews. There was a Rothschild representative there, and Warburg, I think, was the other Jewish guy there, but not all Jews. So, you know, Rockefeller was there, and the senator was there, who was kind of chairing the meeting, whose name I forget. So enough non-Jews representing as well. Yeah, but I haven't really got super far into that book yet. Yeah, so it's interesting. And really, when you try and boil down all of the world's problems, this is what I've realised since I've become more clued up really as to Austrian economics and the immorality of the Keynesian system, and the concept of sound versus unsound money, is that really, when you boil it all down, it all boils down to economics is really at the root of all the evil, and is also at the root of unlocking things. And Austrian economics really is about reducing the power of government to interfere in the free markets. So it's about small government versus big government, and the other system really is about really a scam, really, them just taxing everybody almost like parasites. So the Federal Reserve was really about protecting the banks with taxpayer money, so that maybe before that, in the 19th century, if the bank messed up and made unwise investments and so on, the bank would default and the bank would go bankrupt. But post Federal Reserve, the banks are shored up by the taxpayer, so they can do whatever they like, really, as we saw in the financial crisis of 2008, because they will get bailed out by the taxpayer. And inflation also really is, and that's because because of moving away from sound money, which I'll come on to that in a minute, but it really is a tax on the middle class and the poor, because the upper classes are immune from inflation because they have the money to invest in deflationary assets like art, property, things that are going to go up in value as the currency loses its value and power. The current, that actually means power. These words are quite powerful, aren't they? But yeah, with unsound money, you can't fight endless wars because you have to raise taxes to do that, and it's not popular with the voters. And so that's why gradually from 1913 the elite moved away from sound money. So first of all, 1913, the Federal Reserve, then 1933, FDR, Franklin D. Roosevelt started to steal the gold from the American people, and then what else happened in 1933? They stole the gold, they grabbed everybody's gold, signalled start of the move away from the gold reserve. Then in 1944, as World War II was nearing its endgame, you had the Bretton Woods Agreement, which meant that the US dollar would become the global reserve. Then finally, see, a lot of these things are in and around wars, which is interesting. But finally, in 1971, when the US was in the Vietnam War, in the thick of the Vietnam War, and running out of money, Nixon decided to unpeg from gold completely. Now, that's when the money printer was turned on, and he was printing money out of thin air. It was no longer backed by gold, and so it gave him almost limitless cash to continue to finance the Vietnam War. Because the other alternative that Nixon had was to raise taxes to continue to finance the Vietnam War, which would not have proved popular with the voters. And so that's why he opted for unpegging from gold. Now, they reckon that if the US had remained pegged to the gold standard, or the US dollar had remained backed by gold, it would cost you $1,000 today to buy a brand new car instead of $40,000. That's the horrific level to which inflation has risen. So that's interesting. And what's interesting as well is these BRICS countries like Russia, China, India, Brazil, these countries that are joining BRICS. Apparently France was even thinking of joining it. All these countries that want to move away from the dollar now, it's triggered by the Ukraine war and the sanctions on Russia, that they are talking about going back to a gold standard. So I heard anyway, that Muammar Gaddafi in Libya, well, Libya was at one time one of the richest countries in Africa. I don't think that Gaddafi was necessarily a very nice person. I mean, if you spoke out against him, you probably were disappeared. There wasn't democracy there wasn't freedom of speech there, but it was, I think, the richest, or one of the richest countries in Africa. He would apparently pay newlywed couples tens of thousands of dollars equivalent as a wedding gift and things like that. And he wanted to move to a African standard currency backed by gold. And what happened then? Well, as Hillary said, we came, we saw, he died. That's what happened to him. I think he got beaten to death in a gutter and a lead pipe shoved up his rear end. Came to a horrible end. So it seems like going back to the gold standard is not something that these elites particularly want. They're happy with their current status quo and their current financial system as it is now. So this is where Bitcoin comes into the picture. So yeah, there are a lot of trash cryptos out there. They call them SHIT coins. Some cryptos that have come after Bitcoin have almost unlimited supply. They can just mint new coins. Well, many of them are scams, but Bitcoin has a finite number of coins, 21 million coins. Only 21 million coins will ever exist with Bitcoin. It was born out of the financial crisis. It's clearly rooted in Austrian Economics principles. Sound money has finite supply, just like gold. And but it has advantages over gold. So gold is kind of cumbersome to carry around, especially if you're crossing borders. There's a security risk with actually holding physical gold. With Bitcoin, all you need is to remember a seed phrase, or have some secure way of storing your seed phrase, and that's it. Your money is safe on the blockchain. So easy to move around across borders, and sound money. And the value in Bitcoin, people say that it has intrinsically no value. Well, neither does the money that doesn't exist, that exists only on computer screens, that they keep raising the debt ceiling for, printing trillions and trillions of new units for. That doesn't have any value either. Bitcoin actually has much more value because it's finite supply. And you look at the price, it's gone from like 0.308 its inception dollars to today it's $30,000, and the all-time high was 69 I think K. And people are predicting that it will go up to 100,000 to 200,000, 500,000, maybe a million, as we also see the big players starting to make their move into Bitcoin now. So these are just like a couple of reasons why it is sound money. And another good thing about it is the fact that you remove the third party out of the equation. So Mr. A wants to send some Bitcoin to Mr. B. You don't need a third party to do that transaction for you. It's peer-to-peer. All you need is their Bitcoin address, and then you send the money to them, and that's it. So there's no third party where, like with a banking thing, if you want to send money abroad, if it's beyond a certain amount of money, they want to know why. None of their business, not their money. If you want to withdraw the money, they'll ask you what it's for. None of their business, it's your money. But with Bitcoin,